Against relegation-threatened Hamburg. A northern showdown to close out the calendar year, but who can add to the festive cheer before the winter break? James Thorogood, your match commentator. Pleased to be joined by you as we close the show on Sunday's action in what is the penultimate Frauen-Bundesliga fixture of 2025. One more to go tomorrow night. Leverkusen against Bayern. That is a match that could have implications for Wolfsburg, providing they can apply the pressure at the top of the table tonight. Bayern starting the weekend with a 6-point lead at the summit. Wolfsburg can close it to 3 with victory. Pujols, one of the 7 changes made by Stefan Lech, 3 of which have come in the back line. Darai Linda, Camilla Cuva and Janu Levels all dropping out. Thea Bielda, Joel Wedemeyer and the aforementioned Pujols slotting in. Now here's Alex Popwell, but almost sat up for her. Scorer of the opening goal against Chelsea in midweek. Game in which she lamented the fact that she felt there was more on offer for the She-Wolves, especially on home soil. Unfortunately, they were not able to add to the lead that she fashioned. And Chelsea found a way to punish. It was Stefan Lech who admitted that the Londoners played with a lot of experience and quality, making it very difficult to control their front line, and that's ultimately what Wolfsburg want to do here against Hamburg. Use their added experience and added quality to really put Hamburg to the sword. They tried to do that on the opening weekend. Lynette Berenstein, Janina Minge fashioned a 2-0 lead. Sophie Hillebrand pulled a goal back before Pop restored the 2-goal lead at 3-1. And then a rather shocking turn of events at the Volkspark Stadion. Melanie Brunthaler scored a stunning effort to reduce the arrears to 1, and then there was a late free kick sent in by Svea Stolt. Pop looks for the flick here that doesn't come off. Stolt's goal was a little controversial at the time because it was difficult to tell whether the full ball had crossed the line after Stina Johannes made a bit of a hash of her attempted save. And as a result, in the end, a 3-3 draw. A wonderful result for Hamburg. Unfortunately, the reality check of the Frauen-Bundesliga for Liège Brancau side has certainly struck. And a brutal way to end the year for Hamburg. First on the road against Bayern, now on the road against Stefan Lech's She-Wolves, the 2 top teams in the land. Hamburg suffering a 6-0 defeat in Munich. They would like to make tonight's result a touch more respectable. Right now they're getting stuck in. Wolfsburg having a lot of the ball, but in areas that won't threaten Hamburg. Now a chance for the visitors to maybe fashion a move of their own. Christine Myers in the middle. And the cross took a hefty deflection that worked out for Wolfsburg. Now Svenja Hoot. Ooh, hefty challenge there from Lotte Vrede. To Kai, to Pop. Enderman makes a run round the corner. Pop finds her with the pass. Hoots in the middle to aim for. Enderman dipping into her little bag of tricks. Goes back to Alex Pop. 3 in green to pick out, and in the end a combination of Heeke and Vrede allow Hamburg to clear. legend of the game, Alex Pop, in fine form as well. Six goals in her last 6 games in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Another goal to add to her wonderful collection in the Champions League against Chelsea, a competition in which she only trails Wendy Renard in terms of all-time appearances in the Women's Champions League. You can see as well the recognition that Pop got after the game from many of the Chelsea players. Her status precedes her. Sakai finds Pop. Knocked down to Latveien, whose layoff is a touch too heavy for Svenja Hoot. There were questions as to whether Guro Bergsvand would be available tonight. Stefan Lech pointing out that there were question marks regarding her fitness levels. Given the green light, though, with Caitlin Dijkstra out injured and Camilla Kuva in need of a rest. Part of the reason that he has made wholesale changes tonight, the Wolfsburg head coach. Whether those wholesale changes come back to haunt them remains to be seen, as here Kieland, one of the 7, finds another in Pujols. Pujols couldn't quite poke it through. The woman on your screen, one of the few in the Hamburg ranks that does boast previous Frauen-Bundesliga experience. A point that the Ace-Brand-Cow has pointed out many a time, that for many this is a first taste of life in the top tier, and as a result, performances results should be taken with a little pinch of salt. She admitted again before this game they were well aware that this would be a real fight for survival from start to finish. That is exactly proven to be, but right now they're giving a good positive account of themselves here early doors at the AOK Stadion. They've got another corner for their efforts here at Hamburg. Packing out that 6-yard box as Vreda swings this in right into the mix, and Stine Hannes drops the ball. But the moment of panic subsides for Wolfsburg now, who will look to break down the other end and punish Hamburg accordingly for the scare in front of goal. Pop penalised. What a corner that was from Lotte Vrede, who's the one that's on the receiving end of the Pop challenge. An exceptional young talent, Lotte Vrede. Hamburg native, one of many on the highest foul books. It's a nice little touch. They have found some homegrown talents to build around. Battle ensues. Hamburg come away with the ball. It's a bit congested over that far side. They need a switch of play, but Hillebrand loses out. Reika looking to produce some front foot defending, but Pop gets the first touch. You can hear both head coaches praising their teams on the sidelines there. Wedemeyer taken out, but no foul given. Oof, that whistle was exceptionally late from Annalena Heidenreich, and yellow card given to Pauline Martens, the Hamburg midfielder, because that was late, that was foot raised, that was dangerous from the captain. The fact that it took that long for the whistle to be blown is actually quite remarkable. Svenja Hoot can't pick out a teammate, but we'll get the ball back from Pop. Takai in a lot of space here. Awkward ball, but takes it well. Takai fizzes in, but behind everyone. The cross. Freda ended up losing a shin pad there in that little melee with Wedemeyer. Annalena Heidenreich not happy with the back chat from the 17-year-old. Unlike the other challenge on Wedemeyer, that one was certainly not conclusively a foul. Here's Brown Cow. He's made no bones about the battle that Hamburg are in for, but the fact is she does have a team of players who boast a lot of battling qualities, which will serve them well. And a win tonight and Hamburg would move out of the bottom two. It would be a rather unlikely turn of events, arguably one of the biggest upsets of the season so far, to go along with Karzai Siena's goalless draw in Munich earlier this season. Or even maybe the 3-3 draw between these two sides on the opening match day. They are currently 2 points behind SGS Essen, who were propping up the league for a long time, but revived their own survival hopes with a wonderful run of form. Free kick, dangerous. Latvine with the flick on. Wedemeyer keeps the chance alive, and a bit of a scramble in the Hamburg back line to keep that one at bay. Back post it goes this time. Kieland almost loses out, but this time it's Wolfsburg's turn to scramble. Pop. Svenja Hoot. So far, a quiet night for Ingolstadt, but the odds of that remaining the case are slim. Right now, Wolfsburg exacting control on the game, but not exactly fashioning those clear-cut chances. Takai now, as the flick from Reker does make life awkward for a goalkeeper, but again, Schultz able to collect. Stand up for the She-Wolves, the Wölfinnen. Ball breaks nicely there for Hamburg. Buchler can't make the most of it. Again, possession recycled, but given away quite cheaply there by Wolfsburg. Just over a quarter of an hour played, and Hamburg digging their heels in so far, but also showing flashes up front. Wolfsburg have had the majority of the ball, but haven't done as much with it. Again, on the back of what was a rather intense encounter in midweek against Chelsea. And 7 changes in the starting lineup. Understandable, but they're not quite hitting top gear straight away tonight. The only other 2 teams that Wolfsburg have dropped points against this season are the league leaders Bayern München and Eintracht Frankfurt, who have finished the last 4 seasons in 3rd place. Even if they are struggling to hit the same heights this season at the early stages of the campaign, they will still be favourites to finish 3rd. That was a rather disappointing result for Wolfsburg, which allowed Bayern to fashion the 6-point lead at the Frauen Bundesliga summit, simply because Eintracht Frankfurt were very early on in that game reduced to 10 women after a sending off for Nina Lursen. It was actually a former Wolfsburg player who left in the summer, Rebecca Blomqvist, who really came back to haunt her former side in that 3-2 loss. The type of result that, when we get to the end of the campaign, could be looked at by Wolfsburg as the most costly. Bayern will only be emboldened at the top of the table by more missed opportunities for the only team that are going to challenge them for the title this season. Bayern looking to make it 4 straight in the Frauen Bundesliga. Many will look back at 2025 as the year that Wolfsburg were finally knocked off their pedestal as Bayern won their first ever league and cup double to really underline the domestic dominance that they have been fashioning in recent years. Lovely bursting run down the right from Enderman, and a glancing header that needed a bit more on it from Alex Popp. She had a lot of work to do. Well within her repertoire of finishes to find the target there. She was running away from goal, had to generate a bit of power and a bit of accuracy all at the same time. Hamburg perhaps giving the ball away a little too quickly. Then again, there is a distinct gulf in quality between these 2 sides on paper. Right now you have to say the battling qualities of the visitors is reducing the size of that gulf, but it's a lot to ask of them to do that for a full 90 minutes against a side that are going to demand so much from them. Wedemeyer to Pujols. Lovely run by Latvain, lovely pass by Wiedemeyer. Lena Latvain! Sharp save by Schultz. Best chance of the game so far. Just past the 20-minute mark, a piercing pass from Joel Wiedemeyer, and Latvain draws the best save out of the game from Inga Schultz. Hoot with the corner. Right in at the front post. Kieland back out to Hoot. Schultz underneath it and collects well under a bit of pressure. One of the messages you have to think from the AS Brown Cow ahead of a game like this is keep the clean sheet for as long as possible. At this point of the game in Munich, Hamburg were already a goal down after a stunning effort from Julia Gwynn. On to win 6-0. Up by 3 at the half after further efforts from Georgia Stanway and Clara Buhl. Simone goal from Victoria Schultz in the mix at the start of the second half before Pernilla Harder and Lea Schuler rounded out the scoring. Here's Brankow talking about the fact that Hamburg experienced Bayern's brutal quality. Wolfsburg proving not quite as brutal so far here tonight. Bayern, unlike Wolfsburg, won't have to feature in the playoff round of the Women's Champions League after finishing in the top 4. When Pop scored the opening goal against Chelsea, for a moment the live table did have the She-Wolves in the top 4 as well, and that really would have been a wonderful result for the Frauen Bundesliga to have 2 of the top 4 teams through to the round of 16 already. And Bayern might have caught up with Wolfsburg domestically, but it is in Europe where the She-Wolves still have a lot more success to point to compared to their Bavarian counterparts. Won by Hamburg in the end. Oof, and that was a bit of a hack from Alex Popp on Svea Stolt. Stolt, who might just be 20 years of age, but already tonight her 111th appearance for the club. Her debut at the age of 16. Admits that the highlight moment was undoubtedly the Nord Derby in the DFB Pokal for Hamburg last season. Said that playing in front of 57,000 was enough to give her goosebumps, and it was a memory that still does. Enderman turning on the afterburners. The passing play from Wolfsburg isn't quite breaking Hamburg down, so Enderman tries to take the responsibility on her own shoulders. Now Takai does the same against Böhler, and Takai rides the across to recover and forced to concede the corner. corner, goal, corner, goal, corner, 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 goal, goal, goal. That's how the chant goes if you wanted the direct translation. Here comes the corner. No sign of the goal. For the net ripples. No real danger. Kai with a bit of space to work with now. Wiedemeyer in a more unfamiliar role at centre-back tonight. The woman who recently committed her long-term future to the club, saying, simply put, Wolfsburg are my club. Bounces free, and Svenja Hoop with a bit of a hockey challenge there. A bash of the pads. I think it's fair to say Emilia Hircher probably deserved that, given the fact that she was making no intention to shield the ball and only had eyes for her opponent. Svenja Hoop, amongst active players in the Frauen Bundesliga, is the record appearance holder. 332, including tonight's outing for Svenja Hoop. Alex Popp, 330, is only a few behind her. It almost broke free for Takai. She doesn't give up on the opportunity and does really well to earn the free kick. Type of position where Wolfsburg can test Schult. Popp looks like she stepping away. Svenja Hoop set to take. And looking for a teammate. And finds one as well! Hamburg scramble clear. Sakai trying to keep the chance alive. And those are the moments, though, if Hamburg do want to maybe cause a bit of an upset, take a share of the spoils as they did on match day 1 against Wolfsburg. They're going to have to ride their luck at times. They will need Inga Schult to come to their rescue. So far, she's done that on the one occasion she's needed to. Like we just saw there, a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment. They get away with it in the end because Wolfsburg can't find the finish. Gelder combining with Vivian Enderman. Half an hour played, and Hamburg will, without question, be the happier of the two sides. They were 2-0 down against Bayern at this stage of the game last weekend, and now they're on the run looking for an opening goal of their own. Martens, the captain, look to return the ball to Vrede, who gets taken out by Bielda. Fair challenge, though, from the Norwegian. Here's the chance for Wolfsburg, and Pop with the flick on. It was Bergsvand who was so close to applying the finishing touch. In the end, the ball just squirms away and off the top of her boot and away from danger as opposed to towards goal. Wolfsburg certainly can be considered set-piece specialists. Many a team have fallen prey to their prowess from dead ball situations. Got to enjoy the smattering of short sleeve shirts there in the Hamburg fans. They want something to cheer, not on that occasion. The opportunity, the potential is there for Hamburg, and now they'll get another corner after a bit of sloppy defending by Vivian Enderman. They cannot afford phases of positivity like this to go by without at least, and I mean at least, carving out a chance in front of goal. Every opportunity tonight for the visitors will be so precious, and again they've got that 6-yard box packed out. Stine Johannes already looking unconvincing from a Lotte Vrede corner earlier. And again, right on the goal line. Oh, well, you've got to put that down as a save by Stine Johannes, a punch of the ball, a goal line clearance. She denied Lotte Vrede and Olympico, and just done the same. Here is Vrede. Oh, what a lovely idea with the pass, and if Martens got a touch, could have been dangerous. She keeps the ball alive here. Some tired legs maybe just let her down. Martens in the end. Sakai doesn't really have the same excuse as a poor pass. Did not find Pujols. The home fans sense that their side need picking up a little bit here. A lot of dominance, a lot of control, but Hamburg are looking dangerous. No corner though. Christine Meyer slicing behind. I mean, credit to Stine Johannes. That is remarkable goalkeeping under intense pressure. Still wearing the mask after that hefty collision in the Champions League. Lost to Real Madrid, that left her a bit bloodied, a bit bruised, and with a black eye or two. Handball goes against Cora Sakai. Control is what Lies Brancau is calling for from the sidelines. Look at these statistics, and just the one shot on target so far for Wolfsburg, despite 69% possession. And you look at those numbers, and they're behind in every department, Hamburg, and yet they will be really pleased with what they're producing. Lovely bursting run for Bielda, and Enderman blocks her teammate's shot. Enderman tries to atone for the error. Bielda again sees her shot blocked, this time by a Hamburg player. Not convincing defending as Pujols then sends it into the stands of the AOK Stadion. Wide in the end from the Spaniard. One of Bielda's shots might have been on target, but we won't know it due to the blocks provided by Enderman and the Hamburg backline. Bergsvand. Signed from Brighton. Talked about the fact that she has a great love for defending, which is always good when you're a centre-back. Sakai. She's produced some stunning goals from positions like that in the past, but not even close on that occasion. Solid, I think it's fair to say, in her first season with Wolfsburg after making the step up from Freiburg, which is not an easy one to make. Sakai certainly had the qualities to do so. Key weapon on the left wing for Stefan Lech. Hasn't quite been as prolific as she was at times for Freiburg. That's maybe where the room for improvement still remains. Well suited to get the best out of her in the future. Game still goalless. Every moment is being contested. There's a real tension that is building here at the AOK Stadion due to the fact that Hamburg are simply not letting Wolfsburg have their way. Perhaps this is a Wolfsburg side a little limp in what is their final game of what has been a very demanding calendar year in 2025, and Stefan Lech admitted before the game that his side were looking forward to a break and the chance just to catch their breath, but said that no one wants to put their feet up at Christmas without 3 points added to their tally tonight. Here's Sakai, Hoots on the run, Schultz off a line, and Schultz gets there first. Another moment of sharp goalkeeping from Inga Schultz. Problem for Hamburg is they have had those flashes of threat and brilliance going forward themselves, but they haven't really actually created the chances at the end of them. So for all the promise, there's been little to show for it. Touch by Hillebrand, but then just lets it get away from her against Sakai in the 50-50. Martens fails to win it back. Hoot to Enderman. Pop and Sakai. Latvine arriving in the middle as well. Enderman to Hoot. Tight spaces. Hoot. Cross blocked. Digs it out this time, and off that fine. Not for the first time tonight. Getting the shot all wrong. First time volley, slicing off the top of the boot and well wide. pop charges down the somewhat loose pass. And again, that spell of possession is fleeting at best from the perspective of the visitors. Now space now for Bielda to work with. Kilandu just had it taken off her toes at the vital moment by Vrede. Bit of a nasty one for Kieland as well, because she followed through with that shot, fully committed. Really rattle the joints. Christine Meyer, I haven't seen much of her tonight. Very few touches for the lone striker, which underlines the fact that Hamburg have struggled to get the ball into truly dangerous areas. Enderman always looking to inject a bit of pace into proceedings. A menacing performance from Vivian Enderman. Nothing more so far. Wolfsburg being forced to play the patience game. Another loose pass, and Wedemeyer loses out to Hillebrand. Oh, the Wedemeyer wins it back. That was ill-advised from Sophie Hillebrand. Still trying to atone for the error, but Takai loses out initially. And then the ball put into the box, but no mark found as Bielda then brings down Lotte Vrede. Annalena Heidenreich. Like a teacher talking to a naughty student there. In a handling of Thea Bielda. Rare start for the Norwegian, who was signed from Vålerenga in the summer. Talked about Wolfsburg being a great place to develop and achieve great things. Latfine tried to go long line, but couldn't make the pass work. Wedemeyer finding Takai. Not much time going to be added on at the end of this first half. Does Cora Takai have a highlight moment at the end of it? Wedemeyer, 4 in the middle to aim for. Schultz plucks it out of the air for the final action of what has been an evenly matched first half, which is credit to Hamburg. and won't be pleasing for Wolfsburg. But the She-Wolves almost operating on autopilot in the last game of 2025. After defeat here on home soil to Chelsea in the Champions League, they were expected to put Hamburg to the sword. That has not proven the case, and at the break it is Wolfsburg 0, Hamburg 0.
Möchten wir die Freundinnen vor dem Spiel feierlich ehren. Liebenswerte, danke für 200 Spiele für den VfL. Wir hoffen, dass wir uns noch lange in der Liga sehen.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the AOK Stadion, where Wolfsburg are being held to a goalless draw so far by promoted Hamburg, and as a result 2 changes being made at half-time by the She-Wolves and Stefan Lech. Camilla Kuva and Ella Pedamors are on, Judith Pujols, and perhaps more surprisingly Cora Takai being brought off. Kuva will slot in at centre-back, shifting Joel Wedemeyer further out wide. Ella Pedamors, meanwhile, will drop into midfield. A suggestion, though, that Stefan Lech is not happy with his side's limp first-half performance. Yes, he admitted that they are in need of a break and a rest, but there is no excuse for the fact that they fell well short of expectations during that first 45 minutes. Just a handful of chances, 1 shot on target for Wolfsburg. For the She-Wolves, it's 1 last chance to apply a bit of pressure on league leaders Bayern. For Hamburg, 1 last chance to avoid spending Christmas in the bottom 2. But to avoid that fate, they need victory here today. And while Hamburg will certainly be the happier of the 2 sides, as we start the second half at 0-0, it's worth pointing out that Hamburg really struggled to create any attacking threat themselves, and arguably the 2 times they came closest to scoring were direct efforts from corners. What it does mean is that there's so much to play for in this second half. We're set up nicely. Surely Stefan Lech will be telling his side to take off the handbrake and maybe start actually putting Hamburg to the sword the way many expected they would, the way that Bayern did last weekend in a 6-0 win in Munich. All dangerous. It bounces free after the press from Pop. Hamburg need to clear their lines, but no one really grabbing the situation by the scruff of the neck. Nina Reker now tries to do so, but again, given away to Hoot. Big pressure being applied early here by Wolfsburg. They clearly want to go up a gear or 2 in this second half. They know their first half performance simply was not good enough. James Surrogate, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company. The final act of this Sunday, the 3rd game. First saw Freiburg win 3-0 against Werder Bremen, who will spend Christmas in 3rd place Just quite a turn of events for the other northern side. Bit of a let-off there for Inga Schult. Not that she really did much wrong, she had to clear the ball. Pop just applied the press for Stefan Leh's charges. And then earlier this evening there was a 1-0 win for Köln as well. They continue to settle nicely into the relative comfort of mid-table. I was about to say that was a nice spell of possession for Hamburg, and then incredibly wasteful from Victoria Schulz. Kieland to Pedamors. Seems to have been a like-for-like replacement on the left wing. Into feet for Pop. Neat little 1-2. Enderman trying to turn the corner, but sees the door shut. Looks like Pop and Machtens tangled off the ball. Machtens, the Hamburg captain, the only player booked in the first half, so she'll want to watch her step. Spent 2 years stateside in Syracuse before moving back to Germany. A Leverkusen youth player who has now found a home for herself with Hamburg. Here tonight as well, we've got attendance figures of over 3,100. What is the final game of 2025 for both of these teams? A nice smattering of Hamburg supporters that you can see behind Inga Schultz's goal, who have made the trip east from the port city to the Autostadt, which of course has a deep connection to the automotive industry. Factories for Porsche and Volkswagen, ultimately founding Wolfsburg as Hillebrand threatened to wriggle away. Wasn't far away, actually, even getting a touch there in the same way that Pop did, but she wasn't as committed to the opportunity as Alex Pop was. Nice ball by Meyer to break the play a bit. Machtens now to Hillebrand. Hillebrand and Stolt! Well, there's no controversy about that stunner. Svea Stolt's free kick was a big source of discussion in the 3-3 draw on match day 1. It was the equaliser. This time she breaks the deadlock with a wonderful effort that beats Stine Johannes. All ends up. What a huge moment for Hamburg. A shock to the system from Wolfsburg. But truth be told, the She-Wolves have not been at their best. And they are rightly punished by a worldie of an effort from Svea Stolt. Upset of epic proportions is on offer now for Hamburg. It's tempting to say that this goal is exactly what this game needed. Can Wolfsburg go up a gear? Can they actually show off the golfing quality that's prevalent on paper that has not been prevalent on the pitch tonight? They've had the possession, they've had control, but they have done so little with it. Pop, just out-muscled there, which doesn't happen often. What a funny old story as well that Svea Stolt is having in this particular fixture. As Vrede picks the pocket in Hamburg, they sense that they've got Wolfsburg rattled. Hillebrand with a chance to extend the lead. Oh, she picks out Maya, the offside flag is up. Oh, should she have gone it alone? And what was Christine Maya doing in an offside position? This is criminal. If that's the case, I don't think Maya's offside. It's where the Hillebrand was from the initial pass. Because if they flagged for Maya, I think they've got that decision all wrong, the officials. Wolfsburg now looking for a response. Lena Latvine to Bielda. Header from Pop. Saved by Schultz. Pop looking for another trademark moment in what is proving to be a vintage season for her in her 18th campaign in Germany's top flight. But I just wonder whether we're going to go back to that moment of the goal ruled out for Hamburg. Because I've been watching replays, and I do not think there was an offside in the build-up at all. I think the officials have got that one very wrong indeed. And the fear now is that might prove very costly for Hamburg, because a 2-0 lead here at the AOK Stadion would have been nothing short of precious. Lest we forget, Hamburg this season, only twice have they scored more than once in a single game. Once was on match day 1 in a 3-3 draw against Wolfsburg, where they were 3-1 down and rescued it with some heroics from Svea Stolt in particular. The other was a 6-2 defeat in Freiburg. It is not often that they score more than once, so to have that goal ruled out for offside with a decision that is very wrong in my opinion. I think we're going to be able to show you all at home a replay of the incident again to try and clear it up. And indeed, here it is, Lotte Vrede. The first pass, there's no doubt about it. Hillebrand is miles onside. It's the second pass. Where's Maya? Now, for me, Maya is behind the ball, but it is tight. And she didn't need to run that risk whatsoever. Could that be a game-deciding or maybe even a game-changing moment? And unfortunately, maybe as a repeat of the story from match day one, where the decision about the third goal for Hamburg was so tight. It was a confident decision made by the officials. Stine Hannes, the Wolfsburg goalkeeper, was steaming after the game. She was convinced she'd kept it from crossing the line fully. But there were videos put out by the Hamburg social media team that provided an angle of the incident that none of the cameras inside the stadium picked up. And it was an angle that provided pretty conclusive proof that the ball had fully crossed the line, the goal should have stood, and therefore that the 3-3 draw was completely just. Maybe we'll need social media videos to clear up whether that was offside or not against Christine Meyer, because again, the angle of the cameras doesn't do us any favors. Approaching the hour mark, and if you thought that Wolfsburg were really going to go up a gear after falling behind, it hasn't really happened. Now the chance maybe from range, but it's another shot, this time from Pedermors, that's straight at Inga Schult. Wolfsburg are starting to fashion the chances, but they have not got their shooting boots on tonight. That move is going to break down momentarily, but rescued by Kieland in conjunction with Pop. It looked like the ball had gone out of play for a throw in there from Pop, but indeed I think the whistle was a touch late, but it did arrive eventually. We get another angle of this moment. Oh, I don't know whether this is going to help us at all. I mean, look, in the age of VAR and video assistant refereeing technology, there's a chance that Christine Meyer's kneecap is offside there when the ball is played from Hillebrand. But to claim that that's conclusive is difficult, and maybe we have to give the benefit of the doubt to the official because it's so tight. But I think Christine Meyer is behind the ball. I think it's close, but I think she's behind the ball. And I just wonder whether that's a moment we might reflect on. Maybe Wolfsburg will feel that karma has been served after what happened on match day one. Hamburg certainly will not feel that way, though. But part of you has to appreciate the purity of the football that we see in the Frauen-Bundesliga. You've got to love a little bit of controversy in the mix. Yes, it would be harsh on Hamburg if, let's say, Wolfsburg come back to draw this game or win this game, and by the end of the season, those are the points that mean that Hamburg get relegated. Hoot with the cross now, Schultz. She's full of confidence now, the Hamburg goalkeeper, and rightly so. Good bit of keeping to come off her line and collect there. Needs to show authority. Meyer got a bit of an elbow to the cheek there from Lena Latwein. Nothing untoward in it from the Wolfsburg midfielder, but a nasty one to be on the end of for Christine Meyer, and Latwein does get the yellow card. Change for Hamburg is Maria Mikolayova coming on, and Lotte Vrede coming off. She has certainly been one of the stars of the show for Hamburg since their return to the Frauen-Bundesliga. Scored the only goal of their only win when they beat Leipzig earlier this year. Tonight she's had a couple of bright moments, but not quite her best game. Maybe just a little limp after what has been a bit of a rough ride for her from the Wolfsburg opponents that she's faced. But then again, at 17 years old, and given the way that her reputation continues to flourish, that is the type of treatment Lotte Vrede will likely have to get used to. She'll get a few more hacks at the heels than maybe certain other players, because she is a very technically gifted player. Has a big bag of tricks that cause opponents all sorts of problems. Mikolayova makes life awkward for Kuva, whose clearance certainly was exactly that, awkward. She's even do better at the second attempt. She can't, that's straight to Hillebrand, and Martin does well. Hircher, first time pass was maybe ill-advised in that situation. The break is on, and Hircher has to give chase against Hoot now. Can she recover? Hoot's cross almost picks out Pedamors. Oh, and then, my goodness. That was a rather shocking strike from Sarai Linde. Admittedly on her weaker right foot. She's a left foot specialist that has had to fill in at right back at times for Wolfsburg this season. Alex Popp is working her way through something. Whatever it is, it doesn't look pleasant. Let's see. Oof, yeah. Don't think it was the fall, but really the contact there that had the potential to bruise a rib or two. Kessia Bussy coming on for Vivian Enderman, who was one of the few Wolfsburg players that whenever she got the ball, you felt like something could happen. The problem was she had no end product tonight. You could maybe level that criticism at many a Wolfsburg player, not just Vivian Enderman. Bussy almost with an immediate impact. First touch of the ball and almost producing one of the better chances that Wolfsburg have had tonight. Maybe her direct style of play will benefit them in the closing stages here, because you have to think that Hamburg, with a 1-0 lead, there are going to be some tired legs that start creeping in for a team that have invested a lot in this game. And the question is whether, when Hamburg tire, Wolfsburg can put themselves in a position to punish. Oh, not good defending, and Latvine to the byline. Can't pick out a teammate because Reike gets a vital touch in the box. I'll tell you, some of this defending isn't the most convincing from Hamburg, but this is all about survival. If anything, this is the story of their season playing out at the AOK Stadion. Pedamors looks for Popp. It breaks for Linde. Now to Hoot. Clipped in, Popp with a layoff to Latvine and wide. They're getting closer though. The pressure is really starting to mount, and Hamburg need to be very wary. It's so important now for the visitors to find moments of relief, moments to recover, catch a breath. Well, and that might be why Annalena Heidenreich is having a word with the goalkeeper, Inga Schultz, saying, I saw you take your time picking up the ball and getting it over here. It's the responsibility of a referee, though, to time keep. And Inga Schultz, if it helps her side to a 1-0 win against Wolfsburg, will happily pick up a booking for time wasting. Temptation for Hamburger is just to completely collapse their lines, but what they can't afford to do is pose no threat in the next 20+ minutes. They've got to find a way to at least break the pressure. Send the message to Wolfsburg that they might have a second goal in them tonight if they're not careful. And the fact is Wolfsburg are now going to press very high up the pitch. It does leave a lot of space in behind. It's whether Hamburg can exploit it in the rare opportunities they will have. In moments like that where clearance pumped straight out of play, but an opportunity for Mia Büchler just to have a bit of composure, put a foot on the ball. Svenja Hoot pops there, and there's an equaliser for Wolfsburg. Seven goals in her last 7 games. Alex Popp is producing a vintage campaign, and tonight she has popped up when her team needed her most. Latvine with the flick on this time. And Alex Popp, how she's made a career of. Right place, right time, and a fine finish. It's all square at the AOK Stadion. And Wolfsburg have another 20 minutes plus change to come from behind and take all 3 points on a night where they need it. Ninth goal of the season in the Frauen Bundesliga, just one short of the top of the goal-scoring charts, where Selina Cerci of Hoffenheim sits right now with 10, the only player to break double digits before the winter break. Of course, this is the start of the Rückrunde, the second half of the season. The Hinrunde has already been completed at the end of match day 13. Hamburg ended the Hinrunde second from bottom. Wolfsburg ended the Hinrunde in second place. A team watching on right now, perhaps, that will be mightily pleased with the way proceedings are playing out will be Bayern München, the league leaders, though they would have preferred to see the scoreline stay at 1-0 for Hamburg. The stadium announcer trying to rally those in the stands to once again get behind their side. I still have the big fear that this game is ultimately going to hinge on a very tight and potentially controversial refereeing decision. And that would be a horrible way for this game to end, because it feels like we've deserved more and Hamburg have deserved more. But the football gods can be cruel sometimes. Svenja Hoot has her ankle rattled, but she's back up on her feet. It's funny as well, the goal scored by Alex Popp, the first moment tonight where the ball has really bounced kindly for Wolfsburg. There have been a lot of moments where they've got crosses into the box and there have been deflections and panicky moments at the back for Hamburg, and yet the ball has always fallen kindly for the visitors. It's given them the chance to clear their lines and survive the scares, and that was the one moment where that ball could have gone anywhere. The header from Latvine popped up, I believe, off the shoulder of Reika as well. For the first time, it fell to a Wolfsburg player. And from Wolfsburg's perspective, they would have been mightily happy that it fell to Alex Popp, given the form she's been in front of goal. Turn of Wolfsburg to make life harrowing in the 6-yard box as Latvine's header is just wide. She's arguably had the most chances of any Wolfsburg player on the pitch tonight, Lena Latvine. That's the closest she's gone. Can Hamburg hold on? That is now the question we're going to be asking ourselves between now and the end of this match, because that's all they're trying to do. Weidemeyer, look, just inside the Hamburg half and under no pressure whatsoever. The fear factor will play here for Hamburg, undoubtedly. But how many teams have come to the AOK Stadion, taken a 1-0 lead, tried to shut up shop, tried to batten down the hatches, and ultimately they get picked apart in the end by Wolfsburg. To batten down the hatches for another 15 minutes is going to ask a lot of this promoted Hamburg side. Pedemors to Cuva. Wolfsburg want to force the action right now because they've got Hamburg a little bit more stretched. Linda. Lovely ball, laid off to Pedemors, but the first touch just got away from it. That was a foul, but not given. Maybe Annalena Heidenreich saw it as a slip. Linda has Kircher for company. Headed clear only as far as Kieland. Cycled back out to Linda on her favoured left foot. Looking for Bussy, but nowhere close to her. The cross. Awkward height for Latvine. Tried to make something of it using her head, but hard to cushion a touch with one of the biggest bones in the body, the skull. Oh, lovely play, Pedemors. Almost had the beating of multiple Hamburg players. Play out wide, they're just peppering the Hamburg penalty area now. Wolfsburg. Cross is being whipped in with as much regularity as possible. They feel like that's obviously their way to break down this Hamburg side. And the numbers really racking up in Wolfsburg's favour. But again, you know, 17 shots and just 4 on target. The only one on target that beat Schult and wasn't straight at him was the goal scored by Alex Popp. Wolfsburg will point to those statistics and say, oh, well, we should deserve all 3 points. But if you look at the performance we've seen so far, it really has been limp. There is an element where some of these Wolfsburg players maybe wanted to be putting their feet up by the fireside already, ready for Christmas, but not yet. Now Bussy. Kessia Bussy. To Kuva. Lines up the shot, deflected, and took all the pace off the efforts. Schult will be grateful that it's another routine save. Changes for either side. Janina Minge is coming on for Wolfsburg to replace Guro Bergsvand. Meanwhile, Leni Egert, the young teenage left-back, set to enter the fray for Hamburg. Mia Bücheler, who makes way. That is not a like-for-like change. Bücheler, an attacking midfielder, Egert, a left-back, so it'd be interesting to see what Lies Brankau has come up with here. Though, admittedly, watching some of Leni Egert's performances this season, you could forgive him for thinking that she's more of a winger than a fullback. Very attack-minded. Loves a maraud forward down that left wing and normally combining with Lotte Vrede. Tonight we didn't see that partnership in action. You've got to think those two in particular, if Hamburg do not survive the season, a lot of bigger clubs will come calling for their services. Oh, that's dangerous. Bücheler. Oh, Popp looking for the back heel flick. It would have been nice and fancy, but she doesn't pull it off. Bussy taking on Böhler. Popp with the flick, and Schultz, whether she knew it or not, with a vital touch. Oh, Wolfsburg! And Alex Popp to the rescue. From 1-0 down, they lead 2-1. The comeback is complete as Popp bags her brace. The two most experienced players in the Frauen-Bundesliga combine to great effect as Popp gets her 10th of the season so far with another trademark header. It feels harsh on Hamburg. But after the poor City side took the lead, Wolfsburg have responded in kind, and when you poke the she-wolves, sometimes you get bitten. And Alex Popp, as she's proven over the course of her illustrious career, has a nasty bite in front of goal. She joins Selina Cerci at the top of the Frauen-Bundesliga goal-scoring charts. She has a chance to go above her if she can complete her hat-trick in the next 9 minutes. But again, now that Wolfsburg are 2-1 up, you have to go back to that moment. The Christine Meyer goal that was chalked off for offside. Was it offside or was it not? My gut feeling says no, but the evidence is far from conclusive, so don't take my word for it at all. But that was a pivotal moment in the game, and it felt like it when it happened, and that is how it's proven. Because from going so close to taking a 2-0 lead against Wolfsburg, something that would have been unimaginable for Hamburg before the start of tonight's game, Now the reality check. Now the realization that when you invest for 75 minutes, as much as Hamburg invested, that unfortunately a team with their strength, their depth, just simply can't quite match Wolfsburg for the full 90. It was on Wolfsburg to then convert their chances, and that is exactly what Pop has done in this second half. Can't get over the fact that she really is having a vintage season, Pop. And now Latvine! Yeah, Pop might have got her breaks, but it's not Latvine's day in front of goal whatsoever. Sometimes everything you touch turns to gold, everything she's touching is turning to coal. Bit of a lump left in the bottom of Lena Latvine's stocking before Christmas due to her lack of ability to finish her chances. She won't care though, providing Wolfsburg take all 3 points. Fast forward into the new year in 2026, and Wolfsburg kick things off against relegation-threatened Jena, who are the only side below Hamburg in the standings right now. Rather easy return to action in the Frauen-Bundesliga with those first 4 games back for Wolfsburg, all against sides that aren't quite hitting the heights, with the exception of Werder Bremen. For Hamburg, big games to kick off the new year on home soil against Essen. They are the team 2 points above them in the table. Win that, they claw their way out of the bottom 2. And that would be a fantastic way to kick off 2026. 2025 ultimately will be a memorable year for Hamburg, given the fact that they marked their return to the Frauen-Bundesliga after 13 years away. The club once again taking women's football very seriously, reaping the rewards. They're hoping that they can avoid an immediate return back to the second tier, but right now, troubling times. Pedamors, Bussy, Pop on the floor, Latvine, no, of course not. Oh dear me. Dear old me, Lena Latvine. I thought we were going to get the Pop hat-trick while she was sat on the floor in the penalty area after that tumble. She took a swing at it and struck sweetly, but there was a block from Schultz, and of course when it came to Lena Latvine there was only ever going to be one result. I say that with a little tongue in my cheek, as if I would have converted any of the chances that Lena Latvine has missed tonight. Now, Wolfsburg will be the first to admit that they haven't been at their best in what is their final competitive game of the calendar year, but they found the route to goal. Get the ball wide, get it into the box, see what Pop can do. She scored 2 goals. Latvine's still trying. You got to appreciate the endeavour, the never say die spirit of Lena Latvine in front of goal today. Watch now, she'll score some 35-yard stunner that finds a top corner that has no right to be scored, but having missed earlier, easier chances, that will be the ironic moment if she gets the opportunity. Stays touch tight with Bussy. Wouldn't necessarily say that Bussy's introduction to the game off the bench was the game changer, but it definitely added a little bit more directness to the Wolfsburg approach in the final third. Enderman had that in the first half. There's something a little bit special about the fact that it was Sven Yehud with the cross and Pop with the finish. The two players amongst active top-tier stars that have the most appearances to their name in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Two legends of the game that have been there, seen it all, done it all. They still have the hunger. And ultimately, they still have the quality to win matches for Wolfsburg. And that's why they are two of the greatest of all time to ever don the neon green. And it will feel harsh on Hamburg, but these are unfortunately the harsh lessons that a team like Hamburg have to learn at the highest level. And while the goal chalked off for offside was controversial, you got to start thinking that the fault almost lies with Christine Meyer. Because there was no world in which she even needed to be close to being offside. She shouldn't have even given the lineswoman on the far side the opportunity to raise the flag and stop Hamburg in their tracks. It doesn't matter in the end whether it was or was not offside, because the goal didn't stand. That's the facts of the matter in the Frauen-Bundesliga. There is no goal line or video assistant refereeing technology. I remember Stina Johannes said that, oh, after match day 1 and the goal that was scored by 3-0 draw, we have to bring in goal line technology at the very least. Technology might have given Christine Meyer, who now comes off in this game, a second goal for Hamburg tonight. And you just wonder whether that would have been enough to at least take a share of the spoils. Maybe Wolfsburg would have still scored 2 to level. And what will be really harsh if genuinely Hamburg miss out on survival by a point or a couple at the end of the campaign. And you could point back to this match and that decision from the lineswoman as one that ultimately cost them their spot in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Now Bussy's got the pace here and the space to work with. Kessia Bussy! Oh, it's just wide, but deflected for a corner. Well, the only question I have to ask now is, where was this from Wolfsburg earlier in the game? This is why Wolfsburg are going to struggle to challenge Bayern for the title. Because Bayern beat Hamburg 6-0. Convincing fashion, and yet Wolfsburg have had to grind out a 2-1 win. 6 points the difference at the Summit. Tonight it will be 3. Tomorrow it can be restored by Bayern if they win in Leverkusen. Schult under big pressure there on a goal line from the hooped corner, but does well. We've got 6 minutes of time added on at the end of the 90. Right now, Wolfsburg look the likelier to add to the scoreline with a third. Hamburg not the first and ultimately won't be the last team to make the mistake of taking a lead and then desperately trying to defend. Because what they did is they completely threw their initial game plan out the window, Hamburg, and it was that game plan that was giving them so much success. Yes, they were still riding their luck at the back, but wouldn't you rather stick to your game plan and hope to win and then go, you know what? Wolfsburg scored the goals, but we didn't bring it on ourselves. Or if anything, maybe collapse the lines later in the game. You have to battle that instinct. To do it with over 20 minutes to go was too early. It was just inviting Wolfsburg to pick their chances and chip away at the lead. It's exactly what the She-Wolves did, and ultimately with the quality, the experience that they have in their ranks, as we saw with the combination for that second goal. It's a big difference maker for the She-Wolves. And it's the difference makers that Hamburg don't have. Chant from the home fans now, let's go Wolfsburg, fight and win. And they have had to fight hard for the win tonight, which is credit to Hamburg, but ultimately Hamburg don't want credit, they want points. They need points. Just 7 from their opening 14 matches. 1 win. A 1-0 victory against Leipzig that dates back to the 25th of September. Will not be a comfortable Christmas for Hamburg, and it might get a little worse now as Kessia Busi, with a chance to make it 3-1, tucks it under short. The super sub role played out by Kessia Busi tonight. She made the impact off the bench, now she gets her goal that wraps things up and puts a bow on all 3 points for Wolfsburg. They've come from a goal down. Now the game beyond doubt, courtesy of Kessia Busi. Sixth goal of the Frauen Bundesliga season for the woman signed from Paris FC in the summer. She's been a very promising signing. It's 4 goals in her last 5 games for the Frenchwoman. Playing 2 efforts against Frankfurt, Leipzig and Nuremberg in the 6-1 win last weekend. If anything, the story from midweek for Wolfsburg. Tonight, the roles reversed. It was the She-Wolves that took the lead against Chelsea through Alexandra Popp. Then Chelsea tapped into their experience and their quality to ultimately come from behind to win 2-1. And that's what Wolfsburg have had to do tonight. And ultimately, for the She-Wolves, you feel like 25 minutes of a good performance was enough tonight to win 3-1. Invited forward by Hamburg, of course. A decision they might live to regret. At 3-1, the goal chalked off for offside feels less influential, but I'm not sure that's really the case. What if moments do nothing for a team like Hamburg? A come-from-behind win for Wolfsburg on a night where they were far off their best. But as she has made a career of, Alex Popp to the rescue for the She-Wolves. After Svea Stoltz's stunner opened the scoring, Popp's brace was complemented by an effort from Busi. Wolfsburg closed the gap on Bayern to 3 points. Hamburg will spend Christmas in the bottom two. The final score is Wolfsburg 3, Hamburg 1. And all the goals coming in the second half. A first half where Hamburg would have been the happier to go in at the break at 0-0. The question was whether they could take one of their rare opportunities, and they did when Svea Stolt found the top corner with a rip-roaring effort from outside the area. A shock to the system for Wolfsburg, but no less than Hamburg had deserved.